Welcome back to your free training course for Windows 7. In this video, I will look at wireless networking. First of all, I will look at the advantages to wireless networking. The biggest advantage with wireless is, well, it requires no wires. This means no trip hazards. This makes it great for temporary networks. Wireless may also be your only solution if you cannot lay cables. This may be because it's too expensive or difficult to lay cables, or maybe you can't get permission, for example, with historical buildings. Of course, there are some disadvantages with wireless networking. Wireless networks can suffer from poor signal. This can cause slow performance and loss of service. This can be caused by many different factors. The distance you are away from your wireless access point will affect the speed of your transmission. Also, other devices can cause interference, for example, Bluetooth devices, microwaves, and other wireless access points. If you are living in a building with a lot of other people with wireless access points, you will get a lot of interference from their wireless access points. If you use wireless inside a building such as a warehouse, metal structures like cabinets can cause interference. This will reduce your signal strength and thus the speed and quality of your transmissions. If you do not secure your wireless device or poorly secure it, anyone within range of your wireless access point could potentially hack into your wireless point and start using it. Of course, there is wireless security you can set up on your wireless access point to hopefully prevent this from happening. Lastly, wireless access points are generally not as fast as wired networks. The speed of wireless networks has improved over the years, but wired networks are still the king when it comes to high transfer rates. When looking at wireless, there are a number of standards. Each standard starts with 802.11, followed by a letter. The first standard is 802.11a. This uses the 5 GHz range. This allows speeds up to 54 megabits per second over a small range. This is because the 5 GHz range is easily absorbed by anything in the way, such as cabinets or even walls and doors. The next standard is 802.11b. This standard operates at the 2.4 GHz range. It only operates at 11 megabits. When it first came out, it was great for the home user to access the internet due to internet speeds at the time not being that high. Transmissions on the 2.4 GHz range go further due to them not being absorbed by walls and other obstacles as easily. The problem with this range is that it can get interference from other devices such as Bluetooth and cordless phones. The next standard is the G standard, and again, operates at the 2.4 GHz range. This allows speeds up to 54 megabits per second. Since it operates on the same frequency as the B standard, it suffers from interference from devices such as Bluetooth. The latest standard is the N standard. This standard can operate on both the 5 and 2.4 GHz range. It boasts that it has a maximum speed of 600 megabits, but there are a lot of reasons why you may not get that much speed out of it. First, to achieve this speed, it uses a technology called MIMO. This stands for Multiple Input, Multiple Output. This basically means that it will transmit over multiple channels at the same time. You can tell a wireless access point that is using the N standard, as generally they have more than one antenna on the device. A lot of network devices on the market that use the N standard state that they operate up to 300 megabits. To operate at 600 megabits, you need a network device that can transmit 4 signals at once. The device on the other end must be able to receive 4 signals at once and be fast enough to process the signals. This is why you will see some N devices on the market stating they will go up to 300 megabits and not 600 megabits. Regardless of the facts, even just 300 megabits is a big increase from the G standard. Before deploying your wireless network, the next thing that you want to consider is security for the network. Without security on your wireless network, Anyone within range can intercept your communication and also be able to listen in on your communications. The first type of security you can put on your wireless access point is none. This basically means the wireless access point is open to anyone within range. A lot of wireless modems and wireless devices default to this if not configured. So even if you are not planning on using wireless on your network device, you should disable the wireless or at least configure security on it. The next type of security is WEP. WEP stands for Wired Equivalent Privacy. When it first came out, it was designed to give you the same security on wireless networks as wired networks. However, it has been proven to be very weak, and there are a lot of hacking tools on the internet that will break WEP security. The next security method you can place on wireless is WPA. This comes in two editions, Personal Edition and the Enterprise Edition. Essentially, the difference is that the Personal Edition allows you to configure a password on the device. Anyone with that password can use the device. The Enterprise Edition means that requests to use the device are authenticated by a server using Radius. The Radius server can communicate with other authentication systems, for example, Active Directory. If you need centralized control over access to the wireless network, use the Enterprise Edition. If you are happy just having a password on the device, use the Personal Edition. The next standard is WPA 2. This is, as the name suggests, the second edition of WPA. If you have the choice between the two, use WPA 2 as it is more secure. Again, this comes in the Personal and Enterprise editions. The last security that your wireless device may support is 802.1x. This is a technology that can also be used with wired networks. If your network is configured with 802.1x, the request to access the wireless network is sent to a back-end server such as the enterprise versions of WPA or WPA2. 802.1x is used on many networks to allow access to the network with devices such as smart cards. Before I look at how to configure wireless on Windows 7, I lastly want to talk about ad hoc and infrastructure networks. Once you start using wireless on Windows 7, you can connect up to an existing network or create your own. If no network is available, you can create your own network called an ad hoc network. For example, if you meet a friend in a coffee shop and want to share files between the two computers, this is called an ad hoc network. More computers can join the ad hoc network, but the important thing to remember is there is no central device controlling access. The next kind of network you can use with wireless is an infrastructure network. An infrastructure network is when you have a wireless access point, either at work, home, or somewhere like an airport or coffee shop. Any computer waiting to use the network goes through the wireless access point. This tends to be the most common kind of wireless network used and generally easier to connect to and set up than an ad hoc network. Let's now have a look at how to use wireless on a Windows 7 computer. The first thing I want to do is configure my wireless access point. To configure my wireless device, all I need to do is open the web interface on my wireless device. Once I am logged into the device, I can select the wireless access section. On the wireless access section, you can see the name of the wireless access point, otherwise known as SSID or Service Set Identifier. This name is what appears when you browse for wireless networks. Notice the option Hide SSID. When this is enabled, your wireless network name will not be broadcast. This was once considered a form of security. Disabling the SSID was thought to make the network difficult to find unless you knew what to look for. However, nowadays any hacker with any decent amount of skill will still be able to find the network, so this option does little in the way of making your wireless more secure. If I select the security section, I can change the type of security and encryption used. Some wireless devices on the network support WPS, or Wi-Fi protected setup. Using this method allows your Wi-Fi devices to auto-configure themselves. There are a number of ways this can be achieved. Usually, WPS uses a pin or a button is pressed on the device. To use WPS, your network device and your access point must both support it. Down a bit further, you can see that I have set network authentication to WPA2 Personal Edition. Personal Edition uses a password which I have entered in below. I would recommend this option if all devices on your network support it. If you decide to use WEP, I recommend you don't since it is not very secure, you can select either Open or Shared. If I select Open, you can see that by default, anyone will be allowed access. If I want to limit access, I can enable WEP. Once enabled, the network keys shown will be used. If you select Shared, you can see the options are the same. The difference is how the wireless devices are authenticated. Shared uses a challenge authentication system. This is considered insecure because a hacker can intercept the challenge request and the response to the challenge and use them to decrypt the password. If you must use WEP on your network, I would recommend using the Open option over the Shared option. The next option is the 802.1x option. When you use this option, the authentication is passed onto a Radius server, which you can set here. Your Radius server may also require a key to authenticate your device, which is entered here. The next option is WPA. Even though it does not say it, WPA is the enterprise version and WPA PSK is the personal version. Notice the WPA enterprise version is much the same as 802.1x. You need to enter in the address of your Radius server. If I select the personal version, I only need to enter in a password. Each wireless device on the network will need to have this password in order to connect up to this wireless access point. With this device, you also have the option of using mixed security, which is with WPA or WPA2. I would recommend using WPA2 only wherever possible. However, if you have an old device, you may need to enable WPA as well. Down at the bottom, you have the option to enable TKIP or AES. TKIP was designed to replace WEP due to it being insecure. Unfortunately, since TKIP design is similar to that of WEP, it also is subject to the same kind of attacks as WEP, making it insecure. It is still a better choice than WEP. When given the choice, use AES or Advanced Encryption Standard only. If you have old devices, you may need to enable TKIP as well. In my opinion, enabling WPA or WPA2 should be enough security on most networks. One form of additional security some people use is the MAC filtering. By using this option, you can either allow or deny access based on the MAC or Media Access Control address of the device. Each network device on the network has a unique address assigned to it. Using MAC filtering, it is a simple matter of enabling it and entering the device addresses in here. I would recommend against it because MAC addresses can be faked, and thus this is considered a weak form of security. If I select the option Advanced, this device has a lot of options. I would recommend leaving them on the default. However, one particular option in here that may be worth changing is the channel. This device is currently configured to use channel 4. The device is reporting that there is a lot of interference on this channel. I would guess that this is caused by other people in my building having wireless devices on the same channel. To fix this, I will change the channel to channel 6. The device is now reporting a lot less interference on this channel. If you are finding that you are not getting a high enough throughput on your wireless devices, try changing the channel. This may help. Now that my wireless access point is configured, I will close Internet Explorer and connect up to the wireless access point. Down at the bottom right hand of the screen, you can see a network icon. This will tell you what networks I am currently connected to. This includes wired, wireless, and even VPN connections. If I left-click the icon, it will show me what wireless networks are available for me to connect to. Notice the network at the very top. When I cursor over it, I am told some information about the network adapter. The signal strength is excellent, the security type is WPA2 personal, and the type is 802.11n. As long as you have not disabled the SSID on your access point, your network will appear here. Further down the list is a network with an exclamation mark next to it. This network does not have a password on it and thus is not secure. If I look at the network below this one, you will see that it is secured with WEP. In your area, you will probably find a few wireless access points that are not as secure as they could be. I suggest you ask them to watch this video. Moving back to the top, I can select Extreme and press Connect. I will then be asked for the security key for this network. Notice the option Hide Characters, which hides the password to prevent someone looking over your shoulder and getting the password. Once connected, I can again click on the network icon and this time select the option Open Network and Sharing Center. Notice you can now see the wireless network in the Network and Sharing Center. If I select it, you can see information about the network. The most useful information is the signal strength and the speed it is running at. If I select the Details button, you can get a lot of troubleshooting information. This includes information such as the IP address and the MAC address of the wireless network adapter. If I go back and select the option Wireless Properties, I can configure additional options for the wireless adapter. By default, the wireless adapter will automatically connect to this network when in range. On some networks, you may have a preferred network. For example, if you live next to a cafe with free internet, you may prefer to have your laptop connect to your home network even if the signal strength is low. However, when in the cafe, your computer will connect to the free internet if your home network is not available or out of range. You only need to worry about preferred networks when you have multiple networks in the same area. The last option connects up to the network point, even if the network is not broadcasting its SSID. This would only occur if it has been switched off. The option down at the bottom copies the configuration of the wireless adapter to a USB flash drive. Using the flash drive, you can move the configuration information to another laptop. If you are using Group Policy, you can import the configuration into Group Policy. One easy way to configure wireless in your enterprise is to configure it on one computer, export the configuration, and then apply it to your domain using Group Policy. If I select the Security tab, I can configure which security the wireless adapter is using. By default, the wireless adapter will automatically select the highest security available when it is first added. You can also configure which type of encryption you want to use. If I exit out of here, the next part I want to look at is how to configure an ad hoc network. An ad hoc network allows computers to connect to each other without the use of an access point. To do this, select the option Set up a new connection or network. From the wizard, select the option at the bottom, Set up a wireless ad hoc network. Once I am past the information screen, the configuration is much the same as setting up an access point. Enter in a name for the network, select the security that you want to use, and enter in a password for the network. Ad hoc networks are usually set up to be temporary. If you think that you will need the network again, make sure that you tick the box Save this network. That's it. The ad hoc network will now be created. Once created, I can close the wizard and select the option Manage Wireless Networks. This will show me all the wireless networks currently configured. This includes infrastructure networks as well as ad hoc networks. That's it for wireless networks. Nowadays, with smartphones and touch tablets all supporting wireless networking, you can be sure that wireless is an important topic to understand. In the next video, I will look at the Windows firewall. To keep your system secure, it is essential to understand the Windows firewall. If you want additional study guides and exam questions, make sure you check out our website.